Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to go ahead and put, if you haven't checked in yet, don't forget to check into the PD system just to make sure you get credit and you can be registered for some of our prizes, our door prizes. So thank you so much for joining us today. Soon, I was going to say Mr. Wakelet. Ryan will be joining. He's right here. It's so funny. I saw Ryan Wakelet and I'm like, wait a second, that's not his name. Um, that'd be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool. That's how most people refer to me.
So thank you, Ryan. I'll just be jumping off.
No problem. Happy to be here, everybody, and happy to make sure that I can, share the love of Wakelet with whatever we've got. And that's what this session is all about. So I'm going to share a resource collection for you in the chat as well. Feel free to click that link and follow along so that you can see, and you can see all of those materials that I'll be sharing momentarily with you in my screen as I find that up right now. All right, so hopefully you can see my screen, and assuming you can, we're good to go with getting started with Wakelet. So again, all those resources and materials are inside of that collection. We're going to talk about just that high-level overview of what Wakelet is, what Wakelet does, and how we can kind of impact and supercharge your classrooms with Wakelet. So one of the big things we want to do is we know attention spans across the students are becoming, shorter and shorter. We also know that the need to deliver content and quality instruction and quality materials continues to develop, right? And they have more access now to things that they didn't have access to before. So Wakelet allows you to create these reverse Pinterest collections, right? The idea that I can take my best resources from wherever I am across the web, whether it's videos, images, PDFs, web links, and I can tie them all together into a single collection based on a chapter, a theme, a module, or a unit. In this case, this collection that I shared with you is just all about how to get started with Wakelet. And I won't cover all of this. It's more so just for those of you who want to learn and do with me, feel free to go ahead and do so. But for those of you who like to just sit back and take notes and listen, you can have access to this later on to work through all of the steps. So one of the first things to know is Wakelet is a free app to get started, right? It's a free opportunity for you to go to wakelet.com and sign up for free. So I'll put that in there in the chat. It is just wakelet.com and sign up today. For anybody that doesn't have a Wakelet account, when you get to wakelet.com, you can sign in with your school district email. You can sign in with a personal email. You can sign in however you want to. I recommend signing in with your school district email so that it lets us support and know where you are as far as district location. And that way we can help support you when you have a request or a need. And when you come into your Wakelet account for the very first time, it's going to be stark. There's going to be like nothing here. It's going to look like like I have tons of collections in here, including now, I'm a shoe collector. I love having shoes in here. But you're going to have nothing. It's like getting a brand new notebook for the very first time. And that can be off-putting for certain people because you come in here and you're like, I signed up for this platform and there's nothing there. Don't fret. The idea is that we're going to create collections based on what it is that you need. So we're going to help you with that for the very first time. But we're going to backtrack for a minute while you are filling out your wakelet.com registration. The idea behind Wakelet is that we stop doing this. All of these hyperlinks that are blue that we send through the LMS link after link after link. The students don't really know what they're clicking on. They buffer, halfway through the year. We've all been there with Microsoft Teams. You're scrolling back to the beginning part of the year to find that one resource, and it buffers. It takes forever. It just doesn't really always work out the way we want to. Or if you try to create a hyperdoc and you try to put a picture in here, moving it around messes with your text, and it's just more of a headache. So the idea of Wakelet is to take what would have been a hyperdoc and been a really time-consuming effort to do, and we make them into something that is more visual. These are the same links, the same materials that were just on that hyperdoc. And you can see that now they are visual. So every link, that first one was a Kidado link. When you copy and paste and put a link into a Wakelet, it scrubs for the title, the image, and the description. And these are customizable. So you can click and you can use those cards and you can do different things with them. If you build this collection, if you put that image in that I would have had trouble resizing, now I can just click and resize that image. I don't have to worry about where its positioning is anywhere else. Videos, right? If I pop a YouTube video in here on a hyperlink, it might just be a static link. Here, it's going to be able to play without any distractors, which is nice. So there's no ads, no distractors. You don't see a Fortnite ad pop up or anything else. That video is here. It's live. Students can click and watch that video without being taken anywhere else. So you build these collections and then you share them out with a single link, right to Microsoft Teams if you want to. So we aren't replacing your LMS. We are working in tandem to deliver your content and your material. So what this looks like as we dive deeper, right? How can it be used for teachers? Well, think about, it's not the best image quality, so we'll try to work on that one here, but you could have lesson plans and materials, group projects, newsletters. This could be used for book clubs and assignment briefs, the ability to put these things out for students. It can even be used for a digital student portfolio as well. So you have all of these use cases for Wakelet. We also partner with a lot of things. So anything from anywhere across the web. Like, teachers are the best. We're the best curators, right? I'm a teacher for 15 years before joining the Wakelet team. We know where we find the best materials and resources based on what works in our classroom. So if I have that really awesome Kahoot quiz, I can still get that share link and put that into my Wakelet collection. If I have a really great Canva presentation, copy and paste, put it into my Wakelet collection, and I can build what looks like a customized playlist or lesson material for everybody. All right. So this is, hopefully, for those of you who are setting up your accounts while I was babbling on, this is the screen you got to see. How would you like to sign in? You can sign in multiple different ways with Microsoft, with Google, Facebook, Clever, Apple, or you can just sign up with your email. When you do that, it might ask you what district you are associated with or anything else, and that's fine. Please do tell us that. If you can't find it, you should be able to click Other, and then later on we can rectify that for you. Again, as I said, don't be alarmed when you log in for the very first time and you get that blank notebook. It's going to be filled up quite quickly. And we're going to talk just a little bit about what that looks like. So we've got materials on the side that can help you get started. One of these is our search bar, where you can search for inspiration. So for all of you new Wakelet users today, if you are looking for something like a back to school collection, if I type in here, back to school, and hit enter, I'm going to find other people's collections that wanted to post these publicly, and I can see if there's anything that might be useful. Here's some back to school activities. And I'm like, oh, I really like this. I want to make a copy of this. I can just make a copy and hit copy, and it's going to go right to my account, right? And now it's my version. It's not Michelle's, and I know Michelle. It's not Michelle's that I'm going to mess with, but if I make a copy, then I can add to it. I can take things away. It's my version of what she started. So that make a copy button is really cool. So search is that their inspiration for you. Explore will do the same thing. It's got our top picks here in the area. So things that are currently trending, things that have been looked at and viewed quite a few amounts of times recently. We also have these colored cards across the top that coordinate with subject areas. Please, disclaimer, we are a British company, so you don't have to tell me if things are misspelled. We just use the British spelling of things. So maths is the terminology we use. Later on, you'll also see program with the E at the end and enroll with one L. Just roll with it. My apologies. Yeah, we have it written that way. But here you can find content area material. So if you're looking for resources around technology, you can click in there and find some really amazing collections that are available for you. We also have lesson plans that are pre-made. Again, you can dive into these. These are made by some of our Wakelet certified trainers. So you're able to know that these are vetted. These are some of our favorite collections that have been built. And if I want to take this breathing techniques one again, make a copy and it's mine. So it does have the very basics of a library available for you. And for those of you that like to app smash and pull things together, which we'll talk about in the second session, if you're looking to work in, Adobe, we have a challenge right there. If you want to work with Book Creator, we've got a couple of different resources and materials about that one. Or if you want to see how to organize collections in Wakelet and share them to Microsoft, we've got some app smash templates and ideas in there. So search gives you a way to look for coordinated items to inspire you, just like Explore does. But we're going to get started with a sample collection so we can show you just how easy this is to create. So in the upper right hand corner, I have the Create a Collection button. And I'm going to go ahead and press that. And you see our new template starter gets launched. So it's going to allow you to say like, oh, I want to build a newsletter. And it's going to put me directly into a newsletter template or a lesson plan or a planner, choice board, or research. For me, I'm going to choose blank collection. And then we start with that idea of what is your collection going to be about. It is after lunchtime for me here on the East Coast, so I'm going to use cookies, one of my favorite things in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a title, and maybe I'm going to say subtitle: the best cookie resources in the world. You do not need to have a subtitle. You do need to have a title, though. It's nice and important to have that. And then before you get started with our content inserter, I want to show you on the side, we have a design tab. And that design tab allows you to make this, again, more visual, because right now it's very stark, very blank. So when I click cover image, this is going to put an image at the very top, and you see I can upload my own image. So if I have something like a book cover I want to use, or I have a picture that I want to pull up from my desktop, I can go ahead and upload something. We do have AI image generation. That was a launch of a new feature back in June, and that will stay available for a little bit. It is going to be moving into our Education and Education Pro accounts, or into our individual Pro, but it'll be available. You'll be limited to just how many images you can generate on that free version. But you can go ahead and generate an image. So if you wanted to, I could say cookies and generate. And it does take a little bit of time to generate. It's a very bland prompt by me, so it's got to search through all of those things that it's looking for. The more refined, we talked about this earlier today with another teacher I was working with. We talked about the idea of writing exactly the specific prompt and prompt generation and what we needed. So I'll go ahead and pick the cookie picture if I want to, and it's going to embed that right in there for my cover image. You saw a couple other options though. I could design with Canva, and with one click, I can be inside of my Canva account as well. So I can just log in and dive into my Canva designs. It'll pull everything over from Canva. I can also choose GIF or Unsplash, so royalty-free images. I can also choose a background image. So in this case, I can again upload. I can choose from Unsplash. And here I might go like maybe cooking is my item. Perhaps I should change that to a baking. There we go. And I can put something like that behind it. And it's just going to make my collection definitely look more visual as it loads up and puts it into the background. And then down below, we have the ability to choose our different layouts. And there's 5 different layouts. Media view is our top down, like a playlist. You can go through things in order. Compact is the same thing, but if I had like 80 items, it would shrink the tiles down to be a more manageable size. And we'll show you these as we go through. Grid view puts it into 2 columns. So it could be like a compare and contrast kind of deal. It could be a debate topic. You could put pros and cons. Mood board is that Pinterest style layout where everything just floats around and you can rearrange however you want to. And then columns are perfect for choice boards or anything else. So once I've got my design set up, I'm going to start to add some content. And that's where our content inserter comes into play. You can copy and paste any web address in here. So I go out and I'm going to look for chocolate chip cookies. You can't ignore one that says the best chocolate chip cookie recipe ever. I just Control C to copy. And I come down here and I hit paste. And you're going to see that instantly it pulls the title, the image, and the description right from what's on the website. Super cool, right? Best chocolate chip cookie recipe ever. There's the image from that site right there as the main image. Pulls in the description, the best chocolate chip cookie recipe ever. No weird, no funny ingredients. So it's pulling that image and that description in based on the website. At any time, because our scraper does a really great job of pulling the content in, but you might work with younger students and you might want to change the way that this says. You might want to highlight this and change it to like number 1, start here. Maybe it's a Nearpod activity, or it's a quiz that you want to set the tone for. You can copy and paste that link in there and then go in and edit what it says. You can also edit the description. So if you don't like what it pulls, you can change your own description, and you can even change the image that gets displayed. Again, all those image options are available. So upload, AI, Canva, GIF, Unsplash, have at it, right? You can customize these to really fit your need. This content inserter is going to stay at the top, and every time you add something, it's going to stack it on top. Just know if I float down to the bottom and I hover, that plus sign will show up, and now I can start adding content in line, so I'm not just moving things around all the time. So the next thing I can do is I can add some text, and a full-fledged text editor pops up. I'll say I love cookies. My favorites are chocolate chip and peanut butter. And of course I could, highlight my text. I can bold, italicize. Over here I can center it. I can add emojis. I can hyperlink to something else if I want to. I got different headings I can use. To keep my card, I just click out of it. And then that text is, my internet's not doing super slow, going to show up as that next item. All right, so it does auto save for you, which is great as you're adding your content in. My internet in Pennsylvania just super slow. So you get the chance to add that content in here. I love cookies. Anytime you add text, this is one of my favorite things about this, is if I click the 3 dots, Immersive Reader is built in, which means anybody who is viewing my collection can have this read out loud using Microsoft's Immersive Reader. Again, you can change it to a male or female voice, you can speed up and slow it down, or you can have it translated in over 67 different languages. So you've got those over here. You can make it so that your audience can have that translated into their home language if they need to. So you'll notice in my collection, I put a bunch of text in here. I narrate it as if I'm almost there for the training, so that when you go back and view this, if you need to hear it, or if you need to hear it translated into a different language, you've got all of that information for you. Again, I'll keep building, so I just go down to the next plus sign. Now maybe I want to add an image. So of course I can choose from Unsplash here. Again, I'll choose a different cookie image. For as much as I love cookies, I don't have them all throughout my desktop for everything that I need. Notice it says saved. Again, my Wi-Fi is just super slow here at home, so I have to refresh for me. You don't have to refresh. You shouldn't have to refresh. It's just me. I can also add a caption. So if I need to add some alt text or add a caption to my picture after it gets uploaded, I can go ahead and do that. For the Education and Education Pro edition, we allow for teachers and for students to upload or record their own video. This is great for like setting the tone for a lesson. If you wanted to just introduce it yourself, you might want to use it as like a Microsoft Flip alternative where students could record a video and respond back to what it is that you were working on. So they have that ability that is part of our district package there that you can utilize. So you won't see that unless you have Education, Education Pro, or Individual Pro for the video option. We do have PDF hosting, and we can host as many and as wonderful PDFs as you want. So we've got tons of PDFs in here. I'll pick one without having a quote on it, but here's just some use case. It's just a PDF, and it's going to pull that into my collection. And again, I have to refresh because of my materials, but when it puts that PDF in, you might want to customize it with the image or anything else, but it just opens up that PDF in a new browser tab. So right away, students can have access to PDFs, things that they need to utilize. There is no limit for your PDF storage, so feel free to pack it full. This is great for combining materials and sources all together. And then lastly, we do have a link to YouTube, so you can click and search for YouTube videos directly inside of here. Let's say I wanted to search for Bill Nye cooking. I don't know if Bill Nye has any cooking. Yeah, there we go. Bill Nye can cook. I can add that to my collection. And again, it should show up right away, but because of my internet, there we go. Bill Nye's video is now popped right into that collection. Right, so you can search for videos, you can toss those right in there. There are links to Google Drive and OneDrive. Just keep in mind sharing permissions carry over. So if you haven't allowed anybody to have access to that document, even if you link it to the collection, it's still going to make them either sign in or request permission. So make sure your links are open for what you need. And then there is Adobe Express. But again, it could be anything from anywhere. You're building this customized playlist for students. And that's what I think is super cool is we've got examples that are in this collection that I can show you. One of them being ELA teachers. And let's say you're sharing out all of these things about Romeo and Juliet. Instead of resource after resource after resource, put them all in one collection. And here we've got videos for your visual learners. We've got websites for them to visit for the ones who need to read something and tangibly look. And then we've got some PDFs down here that they can activate. And it's really intriguing to put all of this together as a resource. Click that share button and pop it directly into your Microsoft team, right? And then the whole team has access to that whole collection. It's a really powerful tool where then they can just reference it the entire time that you're discussing Romeo and Juliet in the classroom. And the same thing holds true. We've got examples for a bunch of different topics. So when you're in here, you can take a look. We've got administrators, science, social studies, math, ELA, CTE, arts, theater, and drama. If you can't find any here, there's also a Wakelet examples collection that is inside of this collection that is way more in depth. And this one I don't spend a lot of time on, but you can see portfolios, research, sharing resources, collaboration, lessons, newsletters, everything your heart can desire. And if you keep scrolling sideways, we've got it broken down by some really incredible examples, even by grade level, even just by people and departments that you can find. So this is constantly updated. We've got examples of each layout. So again, if you were looking for something in the column view, you'll see that there's a reading tracker where it's to read, in progress, or complete. If you're looking for something in mood board, you'll see how it looks a little bit different than what we've seen already, where mood board is just everything is strewn around. And you can drag and drop and reorganize all of these. Again, the same idea. You're bringing that content together and choosing what you want to do with that content. So back to our cookies. I've already got my cookie collection. I can just share this out. Right now it says no access. So if I want to share this to my wife or anybody else who's interested in cookies, I change this to can view, and then I just copy this link and I can send that. They'll have access. They don't need a Wakelet account to click and open these. They can click and interact with the content. All of that can happen. So they don't need to do anything else. You can also work collaboratively. And this does have a limit. So on the free version, you can collaborate up to 3 times. So you can collaborate into 3 different collections. I could change this to can add and give them this link right through Microsoft Teams. And then I could have students go and maybe say like reverse engineer the Romeo and Juliet collection. I want you to go find me one video on Romeo and Juliet. I want you to find me one PDF and one website, and they can help aggregate the resources and materials for your classroom. And maybe they'll find something that you haven't seen yet that might be really cool and useful. Or you can ask them to contribute kind of like a Padlet. So they can come in here and put their responses in using the text or images or pictures or videos like a flip assignment used to be. So they can contribute and collaborate with that can add. Again, you're only limited to 3 on free accounts. So if you upgrade to Education, Education Pro, or Individual Pro, that removes all of those abilities, all those limitations. Sorry, it allows for unlimited collaboration. So other than adding and viewing, you can also choose to publish your collection. And if you publish it, it's going to showcase inside of search. So people will be able to find it in search and explore, but it also will go to your public profile. And everybody has a public profile. It's linked to your account. Scroll down and you'll see public profile. And what this does is it's a way for you to kind of organize your best work. It's almost like a portfolio for yourself, but it's a profile of your favorite collections. And you can add directory sections. So you can add a new section and say, like, I want to see my portfolio for all, or I want to see my templates. So anytime I have a collection, like my cookies, and I want to publish it for other people to view, I do this quite often as like a teacher resource page, or when I go to conferences and events and I want people to find my materials really easily. Think about your district webpage. You could have your profile page here in Wakelet almost be your entire library of collections and materials and resources. And then you only link that to Microsoft Teams, and students know exactly where to go to find the most recent and up-to-date abilities. Any questions about creating a collection so far? Please feel free to use the chat. One thing to note while I wait and see. Okay, good. If you do decide to change your layout as you're building, go ahead and do so. It knows where your content is. So this is still that media view top down. If I do compact, it just shrinks it down a little bit, right? The tiles get smaller. If I choose grid view, it's going to put them in the 2 rows of content. If I choose mood board, it spreads it all out across, and then I can rearrange it if I need to. I can grab the little hamburger, rearrange. Or if I go to columns, then I can add the sections that my material goes into. But notice if I go back to media, it knew which order my content was in, and it stays that way. So you can build and then change your mind on the layout later on without any hesitation. We did launch something new recently. So the Wakelet extension is back, and it's really impressive. So it is available for Chrome and for Edge browsers. So I will put that into the collection again later today. But what it allows you to do is if I'm searching on a website and I'm looking for resources and there's something that I want to utilize, I can just go ahead and instead of just copy and pasting the link, I can just click the Wakelet extension and it's going to pull up all of my collections. And if I want to add something to my collection, I just click the blue button and it's going to pop it right into the collection for me. So it's a great time saver for what I want. Really helpful for teachers organizing lesson materials while you're out browsing the web. You can also, we've kind of supercharged it this year. So default, it lets you take the link and add it to your collection. So when I do that, it's going to ask me right away, which image do I want to use? So instead of just copying and pasting, it's going to put the default link in. This one's going to ask me to choose which of the images on the website that I want to use. I can customize the card before it goes in. So super cool that way. I can also just pull text. So if I just want the text, I don't want the whole site, I can choose the alphabet right there. And then I can highlight any section of text that I want to pull in. And you see it's pulling that in up here. Then I can add that to my collection. Or if I want to take a screenshot, I can take a screenshot of something and add that to my collection. So really proud of this browser extension. We announced it in June at Wakelet Community Week, but it is brand new, it's fresh, it's ready. People are loving it so far. You can even start a brand new collection so that you have access to everything that you need. And the last thing we'll talk about as we go through some of these getting started ideas, we've got a video on the different layout options. Feel free to choose which one works best for you. Is the idea of how students can utilize this, right? So having them being able to do things is at the very basis of our education plan. And you'll notice in my collections area where my cookies live, this is all stuff for me, right? If I'm just sharing materials, this is great. But if I want to work with students, I can switch over to our education account. So if you have an education account, I can switch over. And what that gives me is the ability to do a whole bunch of different things. So one, all of my classes show up here on the left-hand side. I can roster through Clever, ClassLink, or CSV. At any time, I can see who's in my class, right? So it's giving you more oversight into what's going on. So you can see what's going on with your class. I can click into each student's account and see what they're creating. So I'm getting that total oversight. I can see exactly what they're doing. And then I can push content to them right here. So I can give them an activity to fill in. What is their favorite songs at the moment? Give me your top 10 favorite songs and your favorite artist. And then when I want to check on the student's work, I just click on their name and you'll see he's added a song here. So I can keep track of everything. It's nice that it's in its own separate location away from my content. But if you're just using it for yourself, stick with this version and you're able to create your collections, share them out, and put your materials. Again, you can still send them through Teams, through your students, can access and have everything that way. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about how we can make sure you feel supported from the Wakelet team. We do have Wakelet Community Week every year. It's one of our biggest PD events and allows us to do a bunch of different things. So Wakelet Community Week is, usually it's in June. It allows us to take part with lots of sessions and things you can see where we announce our new features and what's going on. And we have people from all around the world who shares how they're using this in their schools, classrooms, and districts. So feel free to use that to find some inspiration for your classroom or anything else. It's in that Explore tab. You'll see Wakelet Community Week. You've got some templates. But if you scroll all the way over, we have a certified course for teachers. We've got a student certified course. And this allows for, it's that idea that I have to teach one more tech tool to my students. And we've made it as easy as possible. You can guide students to go through this student certified course if you plan to use it with students that teaches them how to build their very first collection. It's an all about me collection. So if students are very good about talking about themselves, they'll be able to do that. You can take the certified course and it'll walk you through all the steps, what's involved with Wakelet, what are the nuances, how do you do different tasks, and at the very end there'll be a quiz and you can become Wakelet certified. We have a Wakelet PD collection that's all around that support, right? And there's webinars, there's things that are going on. We do bi-monthly webinars, so feel free to check those out as well. We're here to support you with everything that you have. We've got a student ambassador program. So if you want to teach your students a little bit more, you can see it's co-created by Deb Zeman and Tisha Poncio. They started this platform, this program, part of the platform, where it teaches students 6 different worldly tasks. And I love this because it really gets students to start thinking outside of their regional bubbles and start thinking on a global scale. So they can start talking about critical thinking, and they earn these little micro credentials. Each one of these icons is a badge for them, and they can earn these 6 badges by completing the tasks inside. And it's completely self-paced. Each one takes about 40 minutes if they were doing it straight through to finish. They can earn their badges and their certificate when they're finished. So that's really great for teaching those things. And then last year I shared this at this exact event, but the Wakelet Sustainable Development Goals. These were built with other educators from across the globe. So every one of the 17 UN SDGs has a collection. And these are available for you as a teacher, completely free. You can just go to the SDGs collection, and I'll put that into the chat. You can go here and say like, well, I'm going to talk to my students about what, zero hunger. Let's try to solve this issue. And we've got resources, we've got materials straight from the UN. We've also got tasks that we want students to do. So this is a pre-made, ability and a lesson and videos and resources all tied together into a single area. And they keep being edited and tweaked and revised so that these stay relevant to you. So check those out because I think they're a great use case for what is going on. And then lastly, inside of that collection that I shared, there's some teacher uses in real life. And I try to keep up with this as often as I can. But when I find ideas that people are sharing out on Twitter or LinkedIn or just however people are using Wakelet, I get really excited and I want to see how they're using it. And then I want to know how I can share that out with everybody. So I put together this collection where you can follow along with a bunch of different teachers and students who are using this. From anywhere from portfolios to peer review. This is a district in New York where they did storyboarding first and they made like a visuals. Then they turned around and shared those into Wakelet and then made their final projects. And I thought, from paper, pencil, and crayon to digital media, they're documenting that entire step. What a cool way of tying together everything that's available and putting it into one collection. You can see how they're using it for, one district has their entire lost and found. It's a weird use case, but it's one of the most popular use cases that we've seen that gets like a light bulb moment going off. This district in New Jersey. So this is run by their front office administration, and they just take a picture of something that's left over, slap a number on it, put it into the front office, and this is forward facing on their district website. If you go to America Anastasia middle school there, they can go, or elementary school, sorry, they can go in there on their website, click the link, and this pops up. So students know, parents know, call the hotline and say like, hey, my student left number 324 behind at school today. Can you send it home with so-and-so? Done, right? Taken care of. No more box at the end of the hall with all of these things in there. Just a unique use case that I thought was pretty cool. If it says tweet not found, I'll fix those later on because it happens. Podcasting, you'll see this district here nearby me in New York State. They record their podcasts in Anchor, and then they collect everything together inside of a Wakelet collection. So show notes, any other documents or links that they need to have, they put it all together into a Wakelet collection. And then this is linked to their district website so that parents can just quickly jump in and hear the latest podcast on what they're doing. Student projects. We've got examples for a lot of different things to make sure that you feel supported with Wakelet. One of the last things I'll do here as well is I'm going to put my email into the chat. Feel free to reach out at any time. My job here at Wakelet is focusing on district partnerships. So my idea is to match up the district, make it make sense, look for partnering districts. I just know, PSJA has been a huge Wakelet fan. You guys have used us for a long time. We would love to continue with that. So if you get started today, you create your account and you'll look back at this collection and later on you say, man, I have some questions. Like, don't hesitate to reach out. We will help you in any way, whether it's myself, Melissa, just Melissa at wakelet.com. You've got Tisha at wakelet.com. The three of us are going to be there for all of our educator users. Feel free to contact us and we'll help you out with whatever it is that you may need. So I'm going to pause the fire hose for a minute. And do you guys have any questions about Wakelet? I'm going to share today's resource link back out again, just in case. And online wait time is so hard, right? Just know now, after you built your first collection, it'll be there. It's not going to look like that stark, random blank notebook anymore. Have collections for whatever it is that you have. I've got them for everything. I've got them for a couple of districts I've been working with. I've got them for coffee locations. I've got them for concerts I've been to, even substitute lesson plans. Just know, create as many collections as you want. I think after a while, your bookmarks bar in your browser gets bogged down. And I think that, your OneDrive or your Google Drive, it always gets bogged down with all those items. And we've all felt that way in the classroom where we're like, oh, well, I'm teaching that lesson. Where's that video? Where's that worksheet? Where's that? I had that one website that was really cool one time. And if you just put it in here into a Wakelet account, into a collection, then you know where it is. And if I can give any story, like I'm good with technology, so it makes sense for me. My wife is a fifth grade teacher going on year 17. She's not a tech heavy user, right? She uses tech when it makes sense, but she's not always grasping for the technology for the first things. So I think for her, the idea was like, she teaches math. And I said, why don't you just make a collection for every module that you're teaching in math and put all your resources, all your PDFs, all your videos, like all the things that you need, put them into collections. And then when it comes time for you to get to that area, go through and be like, ooh, you know what? Chapter 1, I needed this video or I need this PDF. And if you don't need something, you don't need it, but it's all in a single location and you can access it from anywhere. And yes, those collections were made on sustainability. I love those SDG collections. They're some of my favorite ones. I love the fact that they're built into that. If you're eager to talk about student portfolios, we just built a portfolio course that allows students to walk back through. But this SDGs idea, super cool, super exciting. And the fact that you can reference these and make them into something even more is really impressive. All right, so I'll stop sharing. No questions yet. Need to play with it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you just take chances, build collections. You can't break the system. I think that's one of the most important things. Like, have at it, send what you need to, build what you can, and find what works. Find what embeds really cool. I love putting Canva presentations in because it's, they can scroll through the Canva presentation. I love putting in pictures, images, videos, docs. Just build it full of whatever you need to, and then reach out if you have any questions or help. All right. Well, I look forward to session 2 coming up in just a little bit. Session 2, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to look more at, creating that engaging classroom environment. We're going to look more like utilizing Wakelet to do a bunch of different things, not just, curate resources, which is really great for it, but how do we utilize it with students and get them to engage in the content, exit tickets, assessment types. What can we do to bring that into the classroom and really increase the engagement for you? So please do fill out that session evaluation. I would love, to hear some feedback from you. I'd love to hear you reach out to me and let me know how things are going with you in your classroom. If you need help, I've got you. I'm on the East Coast. I wake up early. Feel free to reach out to me. Let me know at any time, and I'm happy to meet with any one of you at any time.